Wild Stallions shirt, check. Tickets, check. It's time to face the music. How's it going? And welcome to our review of Bill and Ted Face the Music, the third chapter in the Bill and Ted trilogy, because these movies are now a trilogy. And
excellent!
Oh God. For those who know me, you know my God, the first two movies are so dear to my heart. I hold them up there like with my most favorite comedy films of all time. Whereas, what are your thoughts?
No, I'm the same. The first two Bill and Ted's, they were staples of my adolescence as well, and they're silly, but they're the sort of silly that you can just embrace and have a good time with.
But you went in with much lower expectations than I did. That's
well,
for sure.
Let's face it, it's been that long since, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, which was, 1991, I think?
Yes, it was.
It was a little bit, I sort of kept the expectations, sort of tempered.
And I've been trying to keep mine tempered, although everyone on Twitter has been like, oh my God, this movie is so freaking fantastic. And I agree with those people. All right, so this movie was directed by Dean Parasot, who did Galaxy Quest, and it stars pretty much a whole bunch of everyone from the first two movies. Now, the first two movies were about a couple of guys who travel through time, the first movie, to complete a high school report because they're going to go on to form a band, which in the second movie they find out that they're going to be responsible for making a song that is going to bring world peace and harmony and all this sort of stuff. This time around, they find out that they have 77 minutes to get this song done, but they don't know how. So, with the help of a bit of time travel, they visit, and again, I'm not going to spoil anything with this. It's all going to be stuff that has been seen in the trailers that I'll talk about, but they visit various versions of themselves trying to find out what the song is. They've got a couple of daughters, played by Samara Weaving and Bridget Lundy Payne, who are also, well, let's just say part of the story, but and naturally along the way there are adversaries, there are obstacles, and like I said, I had a blast with this movie. It was incredible to me that they have actually made a film, a sequel nearly 30 years later, that feels like a closing chapter of this trilogy. I mean, honestly, you could watch the three movies back to back and it doesn't feel like there has been this massive time gap. The two characters, Bill and Ted, they still have that boyish optimism and charm. It was just such a joy seeing them back on the screen.
Well, unlike the recent Star Wars trilogy, this film had a plan and stuck to it.
Yes.
And it's all the better for it. This film is a lot of fun, and it's, given the times, everyone needs to see it just to relax and just have a good time at the movies. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how perfect or imperfect it might be. It's just fun, and that is what really the best thing about it is. I mean, it's got such a positive message to it as well, which is about sort of unifying the world through music and just celebrating music. Doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. And what I really love about the movie personally is that given the long gap in between movies, it stayed true to its roots, and it was never trying to be a 2020 film, if you want to try and think of it that way. If you were to sort of look at the film and go, oh, they've just tried to make an 80s film, all the better for it. Because, again, it's staying true to itself. It stays very true to Bill and Ted as characters. And, it's just good fun.
So, as Justin said, the movie it's a love letter to music. You are definitely going to appreciate this movie a lot more if you have a passion for music. I think not only that, but definitely see the first two. If you go into this movie without having seen the first two, you're not going to have as good a time. It is not going to make as much sense because you haven't been on the journey with these characters. It is important to be on that journey. That being said, I can't criticize the film for that because it's the conclusion of a trilogy.
Well, that's right, yes. And I completely agree with Dan here. I mean, get your hands on the first two before you see this third one. If anything, just to orientate yourself with Bill and Ted as people.
Yeah.
Because if you go into this one having never seen a Bill and Ted film in your life, you won't be lost as to who these people are, or you know what sort of time frame it is or anything like that. But the whole movie's attitude will be something that'd be like, what is it that I'm watching here? Whereas having seen the other two films, you know exactly what you're going into, and there's no disappointments either way.
Okay, so things that I really enjoyed about the movie. First of all, the writing I thought was amazing. This movie goes at a cracking pace. There was not a single dull moment. There was one scene that it almost got to the point where maybe it dragged a little bit, but God, it had so much heart. And that was a scene between Bill, Ted, and the Grim Reaper, played by Bill Sadler. But oh my God, there was so much emotion in that bit. Which again, I'm not going to spoil anything. I liked the production design, like everything looked amazing. It did that thing that, the one thing I loved about the first two films was that they were so vastly different to each other. The second one didn't try and imitate the first one. Yeah. This film, it harks back a little bit to elements of the first two, but again, it did its own thing. It was a unique thing. I love the inclusion of the daughters now, because Bill and Ted have grown up. They're fathers now. Samara Weaving, I thought, was just... She can just do no wrong in my book. She is such a great actress. For me personally, I thought Bridget Lundy Payne, she was good, but she wasn't convincing me as the daughter of Ted. Like, she kind of overacted maybe a little bit.
I've got to say, my only complaints with the film would be, yes, Bridget Lundy Payne's portrayal is just... the movie's over the top in itself, but she sort of pushes it a little bit too far to the point where in the previous scene, if you're not quite sure what character she was playing, in the next scene she'll just ham it up even more just to remind you who she's playing. But Samara Weaving, again, she's just effortlessly brilliant in pretty much anything she does, and this movie's no exception. I've got to give special props to Alex Winter.
Yes.
He is phenomenal in this movie. He's having so much fun. And it's incredible that you haven't seen him much on the big screen or in any sort of role, really, in this span of time, because he hasn't lost it. He could carry a movie still. He's really, really very good. I've got to take points off for Keanu Reeves, though. We all know him as, Neo, John Wick, and all these other much deeper, darker characters. And even though he's always going to have a fan base of him as Ted, it's almost like he was restrained and wasn't quite filling the shoes like he used to.
I totally agree. Like, for me, Alex Winter was Bill.
Yes.
The first moment you see him on screen, the first moment you hear him talk, the facial mannerisms, everything about him was identical to where we left him off in Bogus Journey. Keanu Reeves, he did good. This is the thing, and I hate criticizing this movie because it is such a damn nice movie. And it's like, it's like, if someone helps you, carry your groceries across the street and you, slap them because they're not going fast enough. Keanu Reeves, oh man, he gave it a solid effort. There were moments where his swagger when he's walking and stuff was just so down pat. And look, maybe it might have even been us. Maybe because we have seen him in so many other roles, whereas Alex Winter we haven't. Maybe that sort of crept into our subconscious a little bit. I don't know, but either way,
it was easier to be lost in Alex Winter's performance, though.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But we had
totally.
Amy Stock as Missy. Mom. She, for a small role in this,
it was great.
And I know for a fact that she just loves playing that character. And that's the thing with this movie. You could just tell how much fun everyone had making it. Ted's dad, the actor's name escapes me, but he's back again, much older now, but he's still relishing that role.
I would buy the Blu-ray on this just for the gag reel.
Oh my God, absolutely. It was just a bunch of people getting together thinking, you know what, this world is a shitty place right now. We need to make something that's going to make people feel good. And for me, they did it in spades. I also think it's got a lot of rewatchability as well, like the first two. Great movie if you want to have a good time at the flicks. For me, like I said, there were a few little things that sort of brought it down just a tad. But that being said, I'm going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10.
I had just as good a time with it. I think our gripes are very similar. Look, go and see it. Support the movie at the very least because, you know, it's worthy of that. And
or if you can't go and see it, rent it at home or buy it or whatever.
Yeah, that's right, because it's coming here to an early video on demand sort of thing as well. Look, I'm going to give it an 8.
So, there you go. That is the review of Bill and Ted Face the Music from somebody who has been just counting the freaking days to the release of this thing ever since they announced it, and someone who is almost there. Almost there. Like,
most excellent review.
Most non-heinous. So, being that everybody else in the world has, well, not everybody else in the world, everyone in America has seen this. Not in Europe, because you guys are getting it in a couple of weeks' time. But yes, if you have seen Bill and Ted Face the Music, I would love to know what you guys thought of it as well. Hopefully you had a really good time with it. Hopefully it was an hour and a half where you could just, you know, make your cares go away and you just felt good at the end. So,
and also, if you're a member of the cast and crew of the film who's been watching reviews on Twitter, how you going?
You did good. If you have seen Bill and Ted Face the Music and you want to talk about it because we want to talk about it with you, drop us some comments either here, Facebook or Twitter. Social media links are in the description below because we like to talk about movies and we would love to talk about movies with you. Catch you next time. Oh shit.
Click subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest movie reviews. Skynet will be taking over any day now, so what have you got to lose? Nyah.